Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, the plane we're checking out this week is going to be the P-47D30. You can find this variant in the Italian and the Chinese tech trees. There might be one other place, but I don't recall off the top of my head. So really quickly, before we get too far into talking about, how to fly the plane, of course, I would like to say that flying the P-47 is pretty dependent on your team. So if you have a team that's just going, they have like 3 brain cells and all 3 of them are fighting for second place, you're not going to have too much fun flying the P-47. However, that only happens like 50% of the time, and that should not discourage you from flying this plane, because it is an absolute joy to fly, and the playstyle is so satisfying. Honestly, one of the most satisfying props for me personally to fly. I've had actually, this is my fourth video about a P-47, so my opinion has changed since my very first one, and honestly, I really like flying them. So let's get into the strengths and weaknesses, starting with the weaknesses, of course. So stall fights and turn fights against other small planes in the, I would say 4.7 to, 5.3 BR? Any plane that's smaller than you are going to be outmatched in the turn fighting and stall fighting aspect of things. And I know that MG151s are still kind of iffy with their high explosive rounds, but if you do get hit with one that actually has explosive filler, you are most likely going to get a wing blown off. I'm not sure why, but just kind of seems to happen that way. And let's see, yeah, I already talked about it, but one of the other weaknesses is, of course, a bad team. So going on to the strengths, the armament is fantastic. You have 8 50 caliber machine guns. The armor is pretty good against any MGs, and the 15 millimeter MG151s, it can take a few hits from those, but 20 millimeter and above, specific, like now we're getting into specifics, are the ones you're going to want to watch out for. The speed of the P-47 is immaculate. This thing is a beast. I'm gonna nickname it the freight train, because that's kind of the play style that I've been using with it. The altitude capabilities are fantastic, of course, thanks to the big old turbocharger that a literal grown man could crawl into. And of course, this is kind of a strange one, but the weight is one of the strengths of this plane. So getting into the strategy, the climb speed you're going to want to have for larger maps is going to be in between 290 and 300 kilometers per hour, and for the smaller maps you're going to want to be in between 280 and 290 kph. And you're always going to want to side climb in the P-47. Under no circumstances should you be climbing straight towards the enemy airfield or towards a furball. You're always going to want to aim yourself towards that very outside base, and then, just move your cursor over a little bit more just to make sure you're going to be giving yourself enough room. Once you are above 3,000 meters, the climb rate of the P-47 does appear. It feels like it increases, but, the turbocharger is kicking in, and 3,000 to 5,000 is a lot faster than the 1,000 to 3,000 climb. That's what I'm trying to get at here. So once that super turbocharger, technically, I will find the exact terminology and I'll put it right there, starts kicking in at 3,000, you get a really, really big power boost from that. If you want to, you can also use manual engine controls. I do have a video up. It is pretty old. I will link that somewhere along here as well. But back to the strategy, once you are initiating your side climb, you are going to want to climb not to a specific altitude, but until you are the highest plane in the game. The P-47 is a late game plane, point blank period. I mean, you are going to see guys that will use it as a strike fighter, and sure, you can do that, but I prefer to fly it as a fighter. I think it's fun. So once you're the highest plane, you're essentially just going to work top down and take out as many enemies as you can. And the best thing about the P-47, unlike the I-225, for example, I'd say that this is a pretty close comparison. The control surfaces don't actually lock up once you get above 600 kilometers an hour, and the wing, oh my gosh, it is immaculate. The faster you go in the P-47, the better the performance is, and once you get your speed up, it's like a snowball or a freight train just rolling down the hill. This thing is not going to stop. You can go through, and there are a couple clips in here where I'm just doing that. I'm flying down, just nailing every plane that I can, and honestly, the 50 cals are like a laser. Having 8 of them is just, it's ridiculous. The P-47 is ridiculous, and in the hands of a skilled pilot, this thing can make or break the whole game. But, you know, it really is still going to depend on your teammates in the first half of that. But, yeah, that's the strategy. You just climb up, make sure you're the highest in the match. This does beat out the P-38, in my opinion. Any of the P-38, I'd rather fly P-47. I think it's more maneuverable and way more fun. But, you know, like I said, once you're the highest, just work your way down, just freight train your way through, annihilate everything in your path. And the other great thing about the P-47 is in a 5.0 battle, you're going to go up against a lot of Zeros, which have a pretty low top speed, and a lot of other planes that just can't really touch you, except for the J2M that will outclimb you. Probably something you're going to want to watch out for. Same with the G series of 109s. You're going to have a pretty hard time with those unless you are quite high up. At that point, you're going to start pulling away just because of I would highly suggest that you look up an engineering video on the P-47 just because it is so interesting how they made the whole turbo supercharger setup. And honestly, just the whole of the P-47 has always been a fascination to me, from the design of it to the motor, the look, the sound. I think it's all fantastic. So if you guys are going through War Thunder, playing any of the tech trees that do have a P-47, I would highly suggest that you take the time to try and fly it. It's a very rewarding plane to pilot and a lot of fun. So really quickly, we'll just save the best for last. The specs, like I said, 850 cals, 4 on each side of the wing, 4 on each wing, I should say. It's going to max out. This is the level flight speed, 714 kph at 7,000 meters, 23-second turn time, and a 14.1 meters a second climb rate. That climb rate figure has to be a lie. There's no way that is correct one bit. Once you get above 3,000 meters, I'm sure that increases to at least 16 or 18 meters a second. But anyways, I'll stop about that. And that's going to wrap up the bit about the plane, but I do have something I want to ask you guys. I am brainstorming different names for this series because really it has turned into more of like a how to fly / mini guide. So if you guys have any titles for what you think I should name this series, leave them in the comments below. And additionally, we're doing plane requests again, so if you have anything that you specifically want to see, leave it in a comment and I will put it on the list and we'll see if it comes out. But if you have anything that you're wanting to see, just let me know. And also, if you guys are struggling with any other part of War Thunder, whether that's flying, aiming, what have you, setting up manual engine controls, leave it in a comment and I might be able to provide some insight and or make a video about it. Just wanted to let you guys know about that. So thanks for staying tuned to this video and make sure you like and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy.